Hello everybody, Ben Rogers here, the Raptors Digest. Ryker, there's been some rumors, news surrounding Serge Ibaka that's been all over the place over the past week. All over Instagram and Twitter, people were reacting to Serge Ibaka seemingly subliminally telling Raptors fans that he's going to leave the team by removing all Toronto Raptors names and wording from his Instagram bios and other social media. So people were reacting heavy to that. And then today, Serge Ibaka came out and decided to quiet those rumors that people were talking about, just quiet those talks. Came out and said that it's slow times in the news media for free agency talk and all that sort of stuff, which it definitely is right now in Toronto Raptors land, and that there's nothing to be afraid of. And he put the We the North hashtag in there. Ryker, what are your thoughts on all this? And does this mean Serge Ibaka is going to stay with the Toronto Raptors going forward?
It does not mean Serge Ibaka is going to stay with the Toronto Raptors, Ben, and I don't think it's quiet. We're going to have a ton of things to break down as we get closer to draft night, and we're seeing more and more reports come out about young players that are interviewing with the Raptors. There's news out there, Ben. That's what I want to say, but this at the beginning of the day, Ben, I think we both agree that we were worried, that sense that Serge Ibaka might bail on us after, at least me, and I think you've agreed every time that I said it, saying that Serge Ibaka, he's kind of the corner piece at the center position for this Raptors team moving forward. It would be a huge blow if we lost him, and especially if he was playing these little tricks before he signs with a different team or something. So it's really nice. I think it's comforting that he made that announcement to sort of put people's minds at ease, but in no way, Ben, do I think this is a confirmation that he's going to sign with the Toronto Raptors. I think in the same way that Kawhi Leonard, he never said he was going to leave, but he never denied that he was going to leave. I'm interpreting this tweet in the exact same way.
Yeah, and the one point where I might disagree with that statement is he throws the We the North hashtag at the end of it. If he was trying to be completely neutral, which a lot of free agents end up doing, they usually just say something that just quiet everything down and say nothing either way. But I think the We the North shows that he still wants to be in Toronto. We saw a video of him saying directly that he wants to end his career in Toronto like a couple of weeks ago after the bubble playoffs. So I think he is putting it out there that he wants to stay, and that's a huge thing. But Ryker, we made a video on it a couple weeks ago when the Hornets rumors came up. There's been a lot of talk surrounding the whole entire NBA. Clippers fans, I guess that's every fan base, just wants a guy like Serge Ibaka on their team. There's been rumors and talks, not actual reports or anything, that the Rockets would be a perfect fit for him, the Clippers, all these sorts of teams. But, there's a lot of chatter, there's a lot of things, and Serge Ibaka knows he's going to be a guy on the market that's going to demand value in all these sorts of things. But he wants to stay in Toronto, but are the Raptors going to pay him, Ryker? Do you think that's going to be the case for Masai Ujiri to match one of these teams? Because we both agree he's an essential centerpiece for this roster, but maybe not the Rockets or the Clippers will throw him a big contract, but definitely the Hornets. They're a team that could throw out a max money deal or something like that because they are the Hornets.
Because they are the Hornets. Ben, the question you asked was, are they comfortable, or how much money are the Toronto Raptors willing to give, or are they going to match any contract? But the question that I heard, Ben, was, why do you personally, Ryker, want to keep Serge Ibaka as part of this Toronto Raptors team moving forward? Why do you have so much confidence in him? It's because at 30 years old, Ben, best point per game average of his entire career, best rebound per game average of his entire career, among the best three-point shooting, among the best field goal percentage he's ever shot, and he's doing it on some of the most limited minutes. I think the most limited, the fewest minutes that he's played in his whole career. So his efficiency is off the charts, Ben. Nick Nurse, he unlocked the key, and that was to play Serge Ibaka with lineups that complemented his style of basketball. And finally, we unlocked this stretch big of our dreams. And he's not the most mobile guy, and he does struggle a little bit to rotate out when you're playing a team that has 5 3-point shooters, for example. But in terms of his ability to play perimeter D, even like we saw him play against guys like Kemba Walker, who is one of the shiftiest point guards in the whole NBA, he didn't lock him down, but he did a formidable job. And this guy, if he's giving you this offensive output, this rebounding output, and this defensive output, and we've even put to question what his true age is. We're not going to get into that conspiracy theory, Ben. I mean, you just can't get more, I don't think, for another player of his position unless you're shifting up a tier into superstars or into perennial all-stars. So yes, I personally would pay Serge Ibaka, and I would assume that that's the reason that the Raptors would do the same.
Yeah, and I'm in complete agreement with you. I think we're definitely going to pay him, not the max, not anything crazy like that, but definitely a substantial amount of money because he is the perfect modern-day center. Obviously, he's not, a top 2, 3, 4 center in the league, but in terms of style, in terms of what you want out of that 5 position, he really checks all the boxes. And in today's modern-day age, it's... you need a guy like that to be successful, as you said, be mobile, be all these sorts of things. And I really like the point that you brought up. He's been really unlocked on this Toronto Raptors team ever since Nick Nurse moved him to the 5. But he's sort of been splitting his minutes. He's been coming off the bench, Riker, for basically since he's been moved to center, whether it be JV starting or Marc Gasol. I guess Serge did start about a little bit more than he has with Marc Gasol when JV was here, and he looked even better as a starter, especially at the start of last season, that year where, the first year Nick Nurse was coaching. So with Gasol likely being gone, or certainly if he returns having a much more limited role, especially from what we saw in the playoffs, do you think Serge Ibaka can actually improve on his game going forward, being the full-time starter? And it doesn't look like we're going to have another center to split the minutes with. Well, as you said, we're going to be breaking down free agents and potential guys to replace Marc Gasol's hole and all these sorts of things going forward. But it's looking like Serge Ibaka is going to be the staple at the center position. And could he be even better as a starter, averaging 30, 35 minutes per game?
Yeah, the answer is no. But that's not a negative thing. But the reason is because his scoring was increased because he was coming off of that bench, equal minutes to basically what Marc Gasol was playing as the starting center. They were both playing about 22, 23 minutes per game, I think. I don't have the stats up in front of me, but it was because he was coming off of that second unit. So he was really looked to as one of the primary scorers. Him, Norman Powell, like their experience in the NBA, they were really the ones that were seeking a lot of buckets, and he would play the pick and roll a lot. If Fred was staying on as that, the point guard to play with the second unit, or if Kyle was staying on, I think if you start him at the starting center position, and you have Kyle Lowry, you have Fred VanVleet, you have OG, who we both agree is probably going to take the next step next season and becoming more of a scorer, and Pascal Siakam, who should have a chip on his shoulder, Ben. He should have a chip on his shoulder. He should be trying to be more aggressive immediately starting next season. So I don't see Serge Ibaka being at the top of the list in order for the person you're looking to shoot the ball. He's going to shoot every time he gets that wing jumper or that elbow jumper, that spot that he loves. He's going to be coming hard on those pick and rolls. He's going to take those open threes. But in terms of the reason his scoring was increased, I really think it's because he was on that second unit, which was looking to him to be that person. But I don't think it's a negative thing, because I think he did this season particularly, especially the playoffs, better things than Marc Gasol was able to do. So I think him as a complementary piece to the starting lineup is only going to improve the Raptors overall. I just don't think in terms of individual stat lines that it'll look better than it did last season, Ben.
See, I agree with your take on the team. Obviously, playing Serge Ibaka is going to be more minutes, and I think a lot of people would agree with that, especially this season. Maybe not the first year we had Marc, because he was so good on defense and could at least hit a shot. But I'm surprised you don't agree with the individual stats, because Serge Ibaka's been a guy that's played with the starters, played against starting caliber players. So it's not like he's a Luis Scola coming in and just feasting on bench players. Serge Ibaka has been doing most of his work against the top guys and on the other team. So I think he's going to face the same level of competition.
Yeah, but it has nothing to do with efficiency, Ben. It has everything to do with he took the most shots per game of his career, or the second most shots. It was 12.2. Before it was 12.4, because he was looked to as the primary or secondary scorer coming off the bench. But before him, in terms of getting their shots up, is going to be Pascal Siakam. It's going to be Kyle Lowry's threes. It's going to be OG looking to shoot more. It's going to be Fred VanVleet. He's not going to have the same ability to shoot at the volume that he did coming off the bench.
But see, he played with all those guys most of the season. Most of his minutes came with Kyle Lowry, came with Pascal. Well, I guess maybe not Pascal a lot there, but Serge Ibaka performs best when playing with Kyle Lowry. That's been noted since he's been on the team, right? Kyle Lowry knows how to set up his big man and really get him going, and I'd argue that's just going to only increase as he gets more and more minutes with that starting unit, being able to play with more creators, because obviously the Raptors always have Fred VanVleet and Kyle, or one or the other on the court at the time. So, but playing more minutes with Kyle and more minutes in general, I think we could really see a Serge Ibaka that's just improved. My one hesitation is, obviously he's a veteran in this league. He's dealt with some knee issues, some ankle issues, and, there's a lot of people questioning his age a couple years back, and that's been something that people don't really talk about. But I think that's all sort of wild. He just looked older on the court when he was playing power forward, which makes sense because that's out of position in today's NBA. But still, the added minutes might end up making him slow down or these sorts of things. But assuming he's able to hold up physically to the 30 minutes plus per game and can stay the level he is, and obviously we don't expect much improvement from a 30-year-old guy, but added touches, added minutes on the court, I can really see his stats going up, Riker.
But Ben, do you agree that Siakam is going to be trying to score more, or is going to at least be encouraged to try to score more next season?
Yeah, but he was our lead scorer regardless last year.
Yes, but what I'm saying is you even agreed to it, that they never played in tandem, Serge Ibaka and Pascal Siakam, except for fourth quarter situations, frequently during the regular season. Typically, and because you'd have, like you said, Kyle Lowry or Fred VanVleet, they play extended minutes throughout the entire regular season just so they have one of those guys that are being the floor general for that second unit. But if you look at Pascal Siakam's increase in volume of shooting, so field goal attempts per game, he was shooting 18.4 this season. That was the exact same when Kawhi Leonard was the leader of the team. He was shooting 18.8. So you have a ball dominant guy in Pascal Siakam already, and now you're going to put Serge Ibaka onto the same unit with him. So I agree, even if you're going to play, I agree that if you play him more minutes, he's going to be out there with the opportunity to take more shots. I just don't see him getting the ball and shooting as much as he would if he was coming off the second lineup. But again, I'm not saying this in a way to say it's gonna make his career worse or it's gonna make the Toronto Raptors team worse. I'm saying he's going to be able to contribute things to improve that lineup overall. I don't see it hitting his individual stat line.
Yeah, that's a fair point. See, I just look at it as he's still going to have the opportunities as last year, and even if he's playing with Siakam, then he's just going to get more and more touches. But the most important thing is he's going to, you and I agree that he's going to make the Toronto Raptors better, playing more minutes, getting more touches, and all those sorts of things. And I guess before we end it off, Riker, who do you think is going to eat up those minutes when Serge Ibaka's not on the court? Because it's likely Gasol is going to go. There's similar things being said about Gasol going to Europe being fake news that Serge said, but I think that had a little bit more legitimacy because there's actual reporters reporting it, and then people are saying it's a little bit too ahead of the game. It's not official. But, is it Chris Boucher coming in there? Is it OG Anunoby? We've had a little bit more time to sort of look this through. Do you I'm big on the OG small ball lineup, but do you think Serge Ibaka, when he's resting, who do you think is going to be out there?
Yeah, well, it could be Montrezl Harrell. We've broke that video down twice now, and but I don't think it'll be OG because in order to do that, you're saying you're going to play him in the starting unit and you're going to play him as the backup center. So you're going to have to shift him down to a bench player if you want him to play throughout the regular season those backup center minutes. So I don't see that happening because I think we both agree we want to see him in that starting lineup. So that's why I'd see probably Chris Boucher, if not Montrezl Harrell, and I would be extremely surprised if the Toronto Raptors lose Marc Gasol and don't pick up another center as a backup that has experience in the league. I think that they're wanting to unleash Chris Boucher. I think that we'll probably see Duan Hernandez get more minutes. I don't know to what extent, but I don't think that Masai Ujiri, I don't think that Nick Nurse is looking at those guys to be the players that are going to, make a playoff push and be the legitimate backup centers. I think that they're going to want that insurance big, the guy that's already been around in the league, that's able to do things, whether or not it's, to the extent of a championship caliber player coming off the bench, or if it's just a guy that's serviceable throughout the regular season. I think very confidently that the Raptors will have another backup guy if Marc Gasol leaves, such as Aaron Baines or whoever we break down.
Yeah, that's fair, and we'll be talking about that a lot. See, to just contradict that OG point, if Serge Ibaka's on the bench, then you could just run OG at center, then Serge is in the game, then you can rest OG. So that's sort of my thought process behind it. But I like the Julian Hernandez point. No one's really talking about him because he was injured for most of last season. He wasn't really healthy until the bubble happened. So he was a guy that a lot of Raptors front office guys were talking. They were really high on him. So it'll be interesting to see what happens once he gets maybe a fully healthy season. But let's know what you guys think. What do you think the Raptors should do? Do you think Serge Ibaka is going to stay? Who's going to run this team's center position next year? Let us know in the comment section below. You're the best to make it this far. Check out the Twitter, the Instagram, all that cool stuff. Ryker, you have any last words?
How hungry are you, Ben?
How hungry are you?
Very hungry. Cheers.